So I'm going to explain to you why 4chan cannot conceivably defeat the Bane. And before I get into that, I want to say that I don't think Bane's motivation is really to destroy 4chan. I think what it is he really dislikes the new administration. That, he seems to think that somehow the gent is so much worse than Steve was, and that he wants to bring back 4chan to its glory days, and all this other romantic bullshit that just isn't true. It's like the old meme. Remember when 4chan was good? 4chan was never good. That's what it comes down to. But he seems to believe that 4chan was somehow better under Steve, even though Steve gave 4chan to the gent, so it suffices to say that the two think alike. But anyway, the point is that Bane has recently been threatening DDoS attacks and things like that, and some anonymous members are getting really pissed off, threatening to call the authorities and things like that. There's many problems with this, however. One of the main problems is that this would be like the mafia calling the police on somebody for committing arson. It doesn't work. I mean, what do you think's going to happen when you, this shady website devoted to white supremacy, anti-Semitism, inciting riots, libel, things like that, racketeering, what do you think's going to happen when you guys go to the cops about someone DDoSing you? You think they're actually going to give a shit about the DDoSer and not more so investigate you and your website? They're going to have to anyway. They're going to have to look around your website and shit to know exactly what's going on and to investigate the DDoSer. And then once they start realizing, hey, maybe these guys were DDoS, but look at them. I think we should much more so worry about them than the DDoSer. So, no, you're not going to go to the authorities, and you're hoping that Bane is stupid enough to believe you, and I'm sure he isn't. I'm sure if he's intelligent enough to DDoS you himself, he's intelligent enough to know the law. And the law is different in every country. That is mostly the reason why the internet gets away with what it does. Because of the fact that every nation has its own set of laws and standards, there's no universal way to deal with internet predators. There's no universal way to deal with internet criminals. And the best you can do is go to your national authorities and hope that the person residing is residing in the same nation as you, and then maybe you can get something done. But yeah, I'll put it to you this way. 4chan is located in the Netherlands. So in order for Bane to be arrested for DDoSing you, he too would have to be in the Netherlands. What are the chances of that? Very slim. However, if Bane were to report 4chan to the Netherlands, then the Netherlands might be able to do something about it. Because it would not be 4chan versus Bane in the court of law. It would be the people of the Netherlands versus 4chan in the court of law. You see where I'm going with this? In other words, you are at the disadvantage here, 4chan, but meanwhile you like to talk a big game and talk about how, it's your forum and you can ban whoever you want to and blah. You don't seem to realize how very little power you have, and it's starting to really piss me off, and it's pissing off a lot of people. And you're going to see, when you piss off that many people, bad things start to happen to you. And, I frankly don't know how Bane is doing it. I don't know how Bane single-handedly could DDoS a website, because this isn't 1992. DDoSing is extremely difficult nowadays, given the nature of the internet, given the nature of bandwidth and how things work. It just seems near impossible for DDoSing to be committed. I mean, you would need a multitude of people backing you up, and I just don't see that. I don't see Bane getting enough people to back him up to successfully DDoS any website. I mean, 4chan isn't the biggest website out there, so it might be possible, but he would have to get a good portion of people that know of 4chan and have a motivation to want to hurt 4chan in order to do it. And if you have that many people involved, you're not going to be able to just, arrest Bane. You would have to get every participant in it. And that would mean a transnational investigation. And they're not going to do that for a fucking white supremacist anti-Semite site that bans everybody. So, you rely on the kindness of your viewers, your posters, and your member base to not DDoS you. Because they could. And they could get away with it. Just like you get away with all the criminal underhanded shit you get away with, Steve and the gent. You don't seem to realize it works both ways. The universe is more equal than you would want it to be. And I say that these people should take advantage of that. Take advantage of you and utterly annihilate you. So, you know, in this day and age, there's no such thing as DDoSing. That's ridiculous. You might be able to DDoS an individual computer. You might be able to DDoS a small website. But bigger websites like 4chan and Facebook and things like that, there's just no possible way. The worst that you could do by DDoSing is basically just cost them more money. Look at 4chan. Recently, they've come into $400 worth of donations, which, by the way, is racketeering and tax fraud and blah, blah, blah. But they have $400, and they say that this is going to last the website a couple of months. It should probably last more than a couple of months, because it can't be that fucking expensive to run 4chan. But for the sake of argument, $400 is worth 6 to 7 months worth of bandwidth. So, if you cannot actually destroy 4chan through a DDoS attack, what you can do is waste their bandwidth. Essentially, modern day DDoSing is like leaving the faucet on. That's it. You're just going to run up their water bill. That's not even a crime. I've never heard anyone being arrested for flushing the toilet too many times, or, you know, leaving the water on, leaving the air condition too low, or something like that, wasting energy. It's a dick move, but it's certainly not illegal, or if it is illegal, it's so menial, nobody bothers to give it two thoughts, because it's just petty. And it is petty, but it works. That's why it does work. Because, you know, it's so menial that you're not going to know. And ironically, that's how a DDoS works. It works in sending little packets of information and consolidating it to one area. And thus, the website can only pay attention to this guy, this DDoSer, as opposed to everything else which it needs to pay attention to in order to run successfully. Now, mind you, like I said, DDoSing doesn't work in modern day computation, but it does cost them more bandwidth. If you can make them spend an extra $20 a month on their bandwidth bills, on their maintenance of the website, rather than not spending an extra $20, you did something. That certainly pisses them off. That certainly hurts them. I mean, for that matter, you could just send a bunch of pizzas to their house or something. But this is much more sophisticated. At the end of the day, the person doesn't have to answer the door when the pizza guy comes. At the end of the day, you can tell pretty much the difference between, you know, somebody falsely having to pay for more money because of underhanded activity versus not, but not on the internet. On the internet, you know, things are a little more different. They're more anonymous. They're more secretive and things like that, because the government has not made any attempt to regulate the internet. So you can get away with it. You could get away with costing 4chan more money by DDoSing them. Ping rating of death or something like that. All I'm saying here is that you probably will never be able to crush 4chan with your impeccable might, even if you had all these people backing you up, all of you at the same time, you know, trying to crash their servers and things like that. But what you can do is cost them more fucking money. And I think that will do more damage both to their psyche and both to 4chan as a whole than if you were to actually DDoS them. Because yes, if you were to crash their website, it may be down for a couple days. They'd get it back up. They'd be frustrated. They'd be butthurt. They'd be threatening lawsuits and things like that. But it really wouldn't get anything done. It wouldn't send a message. However, if you were to continuously do the ping rating of death and just cost them an extra $20 every month, then yeah, their site would still stay up, but they would still have to pay out of pocket to make up for that $20. And what are they going to do? E-beg even more? Eventually people are going to get sick of that. Eventually people are going to get sick of fleshing out more money and more money to, you know, just get banned anyway. I mean, people do it now, but eventually they're going to run out of money. Eventually the well is going to run dry and you're not going to have anybody left to e-beg. What the fuck are you going to do then? Nothing but either pay out of pocket or shut the website down. That's how you defeat a website. That's how you fucking show these people who's boss. That's how you prove to these people what is right and what is wrong. So 4chan is at the disadvantage, but people don't understand that. People don't realize that. People are not aware of what they can actually do and where the law will and will not intervene. I guarantee you, the law is not going to give a fuck. The law cares about big-time criminals. The law cares about things that can actually affect the nation, can affect, the social demographic. They're not going to care about this fucking backwoods, redneck website that always thinks everything's to blame on blacks and Jews. So if anything, they would want you to get rid of that website. And they wouldn't want to do it themselves because they wouldn't want to make themselves look bad. But they would certainly love somebody like you doing it for them. And, they may give you a pat on the back, a little money on the side, or maybe they'll just give you a wink and a nudge and leave you alone. But either which way, I don't think that any government in any nation is going to give a fuck if 4chan was shut down. But if you ask me, you shouldn't be aiming to shut it down. You should just be aiming to keep their water faucet on and make them spend an extra fucking $20 every month. That is how you deal with the modern day internet. So, I hope you learned something here. Think about it, like, dislike, whatever. See you later.